On a cold December morning in 1996, the small, picturesque town of Boulder, Colorado, woke up to a horrifying mystery. A 6-year-old beauty queen named JonBenét Ramsey was found murdered in the basement of her family's home, beaten, strangled, and left with a bizarre ransom note that made no sense. What followed was one of the most botched investigations in modern American history, spawning conspiracy theories, family accusations, and media chaos that lasted for decades. Who killed JonBenét Ramsey, and why has this case never been solved? This is the story of the JonBenét Ramsey case, a true crime mystery that haunts America to this day. JonBenét Patricia Ramsey was born on August 6, 1990, in Atlanta, Georgia. She was the youngest child of John and Patsy Ramsey. Her older brother, Burke, was 9 at the time of her death. Patsy Ramsey, a former beauty queen herself, introduced JonBenét to child pageants at an early age. The little girl quickly became a local sensation, known for her blonde hair, bright smile, and polished routines. But behind the glitter and sequins was a very normal little girl, full of energy, playful, and deeply loved by her family. In 1991, the Ramseys moved to Boulder, Colorado, where John worked as the president of a computer systems company called Access Graphics, a business that had recently earned him a hefty Christmas bonus of $118,000. This detail would become chillingly relevant just days later. On the morning of December 26, 1996, Patsy Ramsey woke up early, around 5:30 a.m., and then went downstairs. What she claimed to find there changed everything. Spread across the back staircase was a handwritten 2.5-page ransom note. It demanded $118,000 in exchange for the safe return of her daughter. Patsy called 911 at 5:52 a.m. and reported that JonBenét had been kidnapped. Despite the note's instructions not to contact police, Patsy called them immediately and also called friends and family over to the house. Police arrived at 5:59 a.m. and began investigating. However, the crime scene was never properly secured. Multiple people walked through the house, touching doorknobs, moving things, and unintentionally contaminating evidence. The ransom note was analyzed and considered highly unusual. More on that later. 7 hours after the police first arrived, just after 1 p.m., an officer asked John Ramsey to search the home for anything out of place. He went straight to the basement. There, in a small wine cellar room, he found JonBenét's lifeless body. He carried her upstairs, placing her on the floor. Her mouth was taped shut. A cord was wrapped tightly around her neck and wrist. She had a fracture in her skull and signs of strangulation. Despite the obvious signs of homicide, police failed to properly cordon off the room or preserve evidence from the scene. Medical examiners later concluded she had been dead for several hours. The autopsy revealed JonBenét died from asphyxia due to strangulation, associated with a skull fracture. She also had minor abrasions and signs of prior vaginal irritation, though sexual assault could not be conclusively proven. The murder weapon was believed to be a homemade garrote, a cord tied to a broken paintbrush handle, which came from Patsy's own art supplies. Her stomach contents included undigested pineapple, although the Ramseys claimed they never gave her any that night. This detail raised eyebrows, especially when a bowl of pineapple was found in the kitchen with Burke's fingerprints on it. Perhaps the most bizarre piece of evidence in the entire case is the ransom note. It was 2.5 pages long, unusually lengthy for a kidnapping note, and filled with odd references, misspellings, and inconsistent tone. It read, "We are a group of individuals that represent a small foreign faction. We respect your business, but not the country it serves." The note demanded exactly $118,000, the same amount as John Ramsey's bonus that year. Experts later concluded the note had likely been written inside the Ramsey home, using their own notepad and pen. Handwriting analysis initially suggested it was unlikely to have been written by Patsy, though some analysts weren't so sure. John's writing was ruled out completely. Many investigators believed the crime was an inside job. The timing, the odd ransom note, and the fact that JonBenét was found in the basement, hours after police had already searched the house, all pointed to the family. Police grew suspicious of Patsy Ramsey in particular, theorizing that she may have accidentally killed JonBenét, possibly in a fit of anger, and staged the scene. One theory suggests JonBenét wet the bed and Patsy became furious, accidentally hurting her during a confrontation. Burke Ramsey was only 9 at the time, but later media coverage reignited suspicions about his involvement. Some theorists speculated that he may have hit JonBenét over the head with a blunt object during a fight over pineapple, and that the parents covered it up. However, there's no hard evidence linking Burke to the murder, and DNA evidence later ruled him out. In 2016, Burke gave a controversial interview on Dr. Phil, which some viewers found unsettling. He later filed a $750 million defamation lawsuit against CBS for airing a documentary that implied he was the killer. He won an undisclosed settlement. The Ramseys always maintained that an intruder broke into their home and killed their daughter. A broken window in the basement was cited as a possible entry point, although cobwebs on the frame cast doubt on whether anyone used it. The biggest support for this theory came years later through DNA evidence. Male DNA, not matching any Ramsey family member, was found on JonBenét's underwear and leggings. This discovery led to the official exoneration of the entire Ramsey family in 2008. The JonBenét case dominated headlines for years. Her pageant photos were plastered across newspapers and tabloids. The media painted a picture of a wealthy, suspicious family hiding a dark secret, fueling public judgment long before any trial or conclusion. Talk shows, documentaries, conspiracy forums, all joined in. And in the chaos, the actual investigation suffered. From day one, the Boulder Police Department made critical mistakes. The house was not properly sealed off. Evidence was contaminated. No official suspect was named for months. Conflicting jurisdiction between the police and the district attorney slowed the case. These failures may have permanently destroyed the chance of solving the case. In 2008, the Boulder DA's office publicly cleared the Ramseys, citing DNA evidence. Since then, new forensic technologies have been applied to retest the evidence. In 2022, the case was turned over to the Colorado Cold Case Review Team for further analysis. But to this day, no charges have been filed. The killer of JonBenét Ramsey remains unknown. JonBenét Ramsey was 6 years old, a child with a radiant smile and a life full of promise. Her murder shocked a nation, and nearly 3 decades later, we're still left with more questions than answers. Did the investigators miss the truth? Did the media bury it under spectacle? Or is the truth far more complex and still out there, waiting to be uncovered? This case remains open, and someone somewhere knows what really happened that night.